So once again, good afternoon. We are going to start our presentation. So welcome to our University Procurement and Business Services presentation. We thought that it would be a good idea to update our university community in terms of what we need to do to ensure that we comply with the state regulations. So we have a two segment. First one, we're going to talk about purchasing, and the second one, we're going to talk about trouble. And we have our guest here today. We have Ms. Shilin Esposito, Director of Business Services, Joanne Papuda, and David Lee for Direct Trouble, Alina from Purchasing, Judy, and Donna Britt from Purchasing. So where's that going out? So my name is Farooq Chowdhury, and I think most of us know each other, but those of you who don't know me, I'm working with Procurement Business Services since March of 2019. And we try to work with the university community to ensure that we provide a good service. And but we'd like to go to excellent, but we're trying to work it out that way. So we will try our best to work with you to make sure we do what is necessary in order to perform a better service for our community. So as you see that slide, it talks about different things. You see supplies, orders. We're the agent of the university. We are what we do is we ensure that what you guys buy goes through our department, and we ensure that we follow the purchasing guidelines mandated by state of New Jersey. So before I go that far, I wanted to talk to you about our org chart. If you see it from there, I don't know how far you can see, but okay. You can see from how the org chart outlined what areas. So it's for the purpose of making sure that if you have any question, where to call and who to call, and we try to answer your question as soon as possible. So university, we have in our website, if you look at that, the guidelines, already if you go and enter, you will get that purchasing guidelines, bid opportunities, and we do hire consultants, and also you will see the business service at travel. Those are the topics we're going to talk about that. And also, this is our phone number. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to send me an email or anybody on our team to answer any question you may have, and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So, people often ask why we need that, why you have to do this, why not why this? And one of the things that I learned last few months working there, that we have to abide by the state regulation because we are a state agency. So anytime anything we do, anything we buy, it's not that we make the policy, say, look, we do whatever we want. And if we don't follow the policy that we're in state will come and look at our procurement or anything else they want, they can come and look at that, and then we'll find some problem that we may not have the answer. So that's why we wanted to make sure that we do everything based on what the guidelines they're given us by the state. So if you look at this, you see that any purchases we make, anything under 6,500, we don't need any codes. Means, in other words, if you buy something and it's only 6,400, you don't need any code. You just go and buy it. But what we use, we ask the department to make sure that you use your judgment. Make sure when you go and see what you're spending money, that you get a competitive price in your head, so that this will help the university. Okay, see, we are trying to give you some leeway where you can go up to 6,400. You don't need any code. But anything over 6,500, we are requiring you to get us 3 code. So 3 codes is sometimes people will get so upset because it's hard sometimes to get something because they want to get it done quickly. But if you establish a guideline, if you don't follow, this guideline is no good, because the guidelines to follow means that the state give you a threshold, and threshold is 33,300. So if you cross over 33.3, then we'll talk about a little bit more after that. But if you have 33.3 and you take a certain percent, they give you to use that as a guideline, so that anything over that purchase, you need to go for 3 codes. So as I explained to you, that our intention is to work with you and try to help you as much as possible, so that there is nowhere that we are trying to hold something and you wanted to get something done quickly. We'll find a way to help you, but sometimes it's difficult, because if there are not procedure maintained, then you have a problem. So, and anything over 33.3, we need to go for public bidding. So if any purchase is over 33.3, you need to go public bidding. And public bidding means that I work with many departments that we put out RFP, we call RFPs out, and to ask people to submit competitive pricing, and there is a guideline we follow. And then once we see that we have a criteria we establish to evaluate those people, and once we evaluate and find somebody qualified for that kind of job that we are trying to offer, and then we can start with 1 year. We can go, if they're good, we can go 2nd or 3rd. In some instances, we can go up to 5 years, but that is very limited. But mainly what we do is we evaluate the 1st year and see how they're doing. If they're doing good, then we go to 2nd year. And if we do that, they're going good, we go to 3rd year. And one of the things that we are encouraging our department, if you're spending, 20, 30, whatever the amount is every year, then we should go for competitive bidding. It will help us to find a better company, and we can get a better result out of it. So if you see the form that we created, and that form is for anything for 6,500 to 33,299.99. And we encourage, or is it required, I'm sorry, encourage, it is required that when you do any purchase over 6,500, you need to submit that competitive form where it shows all the prices and the code that you got from people. And that is very important. So that's the form that we created. So you can fill it out. And you can fill it out online and make a copy of it or send it to us. And then that way that we have a permanent record, because our external auditors, when they come, they look for stuff. They will have a sample of 20 items, and our general director is here, and he knows that he will send me an email saying that these are the information we need to provide, and we have to provide them. If not, then we will have sub-audit question, and we want to see that happening. So there are some bid exception that we oftenly work with departments, and the state vendors, the state, we can work with them. Then we don't need any, if they are listed as a state vendors and they are part of the bid and is their website, state website, we can use them. Also, some of the General Service Administration, called GSA, we can use that. Also, they call purchasing cooperative bid that they use, and some of them pretty good price that we can use them. So the issue here is that once you ask us question, we'll research it for you. We'll let you know whether is a state vendor or not, or they're a cooperative bid or not. So if that's you're looking for, please reach out to us. We'll definitely be able to help you with that. So there are another item that I think sometimes we come across where they are sole source. And I don't know, sometimes people don't understand the sole source definition is. Sole source means that they're the only company that can, they're in the market to provide the services. And one of the questions come one time, and I'll give you an example. There was a tile made by one company, and then the tile that we want to replace, this is the only tile company make that tile. Made that tile. So this is the sole source, because that's the only company can provide the service. So if you believe that there is a sole source, then please fill out the form, and we'll review it, and then we'll approve it if it is within the guidelines. So this is the source form. It is on our website. You can go and access them if you need them. Okay. So another bidding exceptions that we see often, some of the exceptions are done through the board waivers, and our board of trustees are the one who can waive the bidding exception, and that request must be submitted to our legal, and the legal will review it, and if they are under the statute, because there are certain things that we need to follow in order to follow the guidelines, and then they will make a determination, and then it goes to board for approval. If the board approves it, that you have, and normally we do it for a yearly basis, and sometimes I have seen like 2-3 years for one item, but mostly 1 year, the exception. So this is the bid waiver form that you need to fill out, and it shows that who is approving and whatnot. Now, one of the things that I have seen here, and I wanted to share with you, sometimes when you enter a rec in the system and you think that you have done yours, whatever is supposed to be done, sometimes it's not actually correct, because you need to follow up with whether there is any, if it's come to us, I definitely will, once it's approved, we will send you an email, let you know that this process is done. But most of the time what I see that people don't follow up, don't see it, in month, 2 months gone by, and they don't know whether the purchase order, the deck they enter, whether it's approved or not. And you have the ability to go and see it, which level is, not approved. Because approval is, without the approval, we cannot do anything. So, see, sometimes people will call me and say, look, I did the rec 2 months ago and I didn't. So I go in the system and see that, there was 2 level is not approved. Either vice president or somebody else didn't approve it, so it's still out there. So I'm encouraging you to go and access that rec and see where is, is hanging that rack. As you know, that we are required by the state of New Jersey, calls New Jersey Business Certificate, called BRC. If you spend over $4,995, it is required by the state of New Jersey that you have to go register with the state of New Jersey and get a certificate. Without that, sorry, we cannot process it. So it's my request to you, if anybody you are hiring, or anybody not hiring, any consultant that you are hiring, or any vendor working with you, they have to submit the BRC. The threshold is the cumulative value of the purchase. So when you purchase with the vendor and spend $6,500, and then somebody else use it for another $5,000, we'll be requiring you to submit 3 quotes, because that way you went over the threshold, and that is very important. Okay, how many people you order something without going to the purchase order system? Is anybody here? Nobody. Okay, that's good. Nobody's going to admit that. But I will see a package arrives in our warehouse. There is nothing attached to it. So what happened is somebody ordered them directly, and not thinking about that without going through the process, you not authorized. So my question will be, you will be denied, and we're not going to process it. So my question to you is that why you go and order something without going through us? Please come. If you need something to be done quickly, just work with us. We'll work with you. It's not that we cannot get something done in the same day. Yes, it's possible. As long as everybody approves it, I can get a PO done in an hour. It's not a problem at all. And people are here to do it. Oh my God, this is independent consultant. This is a hot topic. Some of you know already that the independent consultant definitions, sometimes the people will try to recruit people to do their work, and then they put through the purchase order system to get paid, and they'll submit the timesheet. I'll say 9 to 5, So they're not consultant; they're workers. So consultants are supposed to be independent. They're supposed to do independent work. They're not supposed to, be 9 to 5 job, whatever. So I encourage you, when you design that, make sure that there is because it's a problem with looking at employee versus consultant is a big issue. So I encourage you to be mindful when you try to recruit somebody. It's not for doing the day-to work or clerical work or administrative work. Is for some kind of project they're doing independently. So, we have often problem with 1099, and Joe will say, okay, my God, look at this name one, and then comes up something, right, Joe? Is it right? So we need to make sure that when we do 1099, we get the correct information, because when you have W-9, when a person issuing filling out a form for W-9, you must enter a company name correctly, because Joe goes and match with them IRS, right, Joe? So we comes out something wrong, and it's a problem. So we encourage you to follow this properly. Consultant. One of the things that I think 4 or 5 years ago, the University Council created a consultant questionnaire forms that will give you a good guidelines how to determine the person is a consultant or a employee. So follow this, and then council will make a decision what direction we need to go. Oh, I'm done. Any question? This is the follow-up. Anybody here? All right, Steve.
This is in regards to the 6,500 quote.
Yes.
And you've been mentioning for purchases for quote.
Right.
Can you clarify for me and maybe others, if I place an order for $6,000 with vendor A,
Okay.
I don't need a quote. I don't need to get 3 quotes. If me or if I or another department on campus, let's say, has to order from vendor A as well and uses vendor A, and then their purchase is, say, $700, do they need to get 3 quotes?
As soon as it
Because
goes,
now it comes to be the company is going to, we're purchasing from the same company. You said purchases, not vendors or companies. The purchase is under $6,500, but now the company is being billed or being invoiced for $6,700.
yeah, then it take quotes, yeah.
So I need 3 quotes for $700.
Yes.
But I don't need it for $6,000.
Yeah, first time, yeah, first instances, yeah.
So, but that kind of goes against you. If I'm hearing it correctly, you said earlier purchases of 6,500, not the company, not the vendor. And at the vendor, we need to get a BRC at 49, acceptable.
Yes.
Any purchases over 6,500 for 3 quotes, acceptable. I get that. But if there's a chance that I don't know what company A has been used on campus, I'm going to go in and order something that's $50 and find out, oh, I need to get 3 quotes from the time they have 6,500 to 33,000.
So the question, the answer will be, we have to, I work with you.
Yeah.
We have to review it and see what the circumstances, and then we'll make a decision based on that.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Adam?
No, sir.
Ken?
Oh, he's picking on me.
Yes. That's not true. No. Dr. Farsi? Yes. State contract, you don't need it. If it's a state contract, you don't need it. If it is a cooperative bid, you don't need it. If it is a board waiver, you don't need it. So, any other question? Yes. Yes. Yes.
If we have been doing business with a certain vendor for many years prior to this policy, and we're up for like another order with them that exceeds these thresholds, are we required to retroactively get the bids?
Depends on what companies and how long you're doing it.
College Board, for example, we spend a good amount of money with them every year, but we've been doing business with them for 100 years.
Do you have a board? I thought you have a board waiver for that.
I'm just giving that example because there's other ones that we may be in the middle of a 3-year contract, and when we're coming up for a renewal, if we've been doing business with them in the past, are we required?
It depends on what is the threshold is. Is it under 33.3?
Would be over.
But then, then we have to go either board waiver or we have to go for bid.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Okay, so our next presenters, Micheline and Joanne Pabura.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our seminar. Joanne Pabuda and I are going to be briefly going over our travel policy throughout the institution. About a year ago, we signed on with Direct Travel, and David Lee from Direct Travel is with us today if anyone has specific questions at the end of our presentation, to streamline our business travel process. About 8 months ago, we went online with the system, which so far is working out pretty well for us. What it consists of for the user would, okay, let me get to the next thing here. Okay. For the user, everything starts the same in that they're going to receive their they're going to get their travel authorization form and have it signed by all the correct levels of a signature that are required. They're going to check and submit that to business services for approval. Once we get the completed BST form, or BT or BST form, we then check for fund availability, and we issue a BT number for that request. What we've taken on in business services is we have gone onto Direct Travel and done the initial registration for each traveler. So Yelena will take all of the information that she has for the trip, enter it into the system, the Direct Travel system, and once she does that, that will assign a BT number to your travel. You'll get an email once that process is completed, which will prompt you to go to Direct Travel's site. It will give you your password, your username and password to complete the registration process. At that point, I'm going to say if anybody's used Expedia.com or any other online travel service, Direct Travel is going to, the site that you're going to be brought to there will take you through a like situation. It'll ask you where you're traveling, when you plan to travel, and give you the flights available. The flight will not be confirmed or go through unless at the end of the form you have a BT number, a valid authorized BT number, or in a student's case, a BST number. Once that's entered, you would enter it and proceed, and you would get a confirmation saying that your trip is secured. Joanne?
Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. Direct Travel has been with us approximately 1 year. We went out to bid. Most of you were familiar with our previous agency that we used, which was Current Travel. It was a little mom and pop, and Direct Travel is a little bit more sophisticated. We're hoping to move the entire process to an online process from beginning to end. But unfortunately, we're still doing the manual process on the beginning, and we're still doing a little bit of the manual process on the end. Direct Travel gives us the capability of tracking the revenue that we're spending, using the dollars a little bit more efficiently. We're all following the manual. It's all one place. Everyone is doing the same thing, which helps everybody ultimately. The Board of Trustees in 2007 asked us to develop a travel program for compliance, and that's what we've done, and that's where we are today. The process is not wonderful. It's getting there. Ultimately, it will be a very streamlined process, but now we still have a little bit of work to do on the onset. It's very important to submit the paperwork as far in advance as possible. You cannot move forward in the system without the BT number or the BST number. That's your authorization. A lot of people want to just go ahead and book what they want to book and then submit the paperwork, and it doesn't work like that anymore. So try to be as mindful as possible of that, and you really shouldn't have too much of a problem. It should be a streamlined process. David is our rep, and he's reviewing our files on a regular basis to see where we could save money or utilize our dollars a little bit more effectively. But we're not there yet because we've really just started tracking our program since August. So it's only been, what is that, six months? So we'll have a better idea once, probably towards the end of the semester, next semester. I don't know, there's different things. There's different conferences, seminars, trainings, workshops, office meetings. The biggest issue is all of the paperwork. Getting it to the provost office, then getting it onto Mr. Brannon's office, and then getting onto the ethics office, and then getting it onto ultimately to Elena. So it takes time. We track everything. I think it's working pretty well. I think there's definitely room for improvement. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm always open to that. The bottom line is that we just want to make it more efficient and as easy as possible.
I just want to touch on the conference section. A lot of times, we do have the capability to do hotels now, don't we? Not yet. We're working on getting the ability to book your hotels online too through the same direct travel site. We're not quite there yet. But with conferences and seminars, we are aware that a lot of times you're going to get a much cheaper rate when the people who are sponsoring the conference buy blocks of rooms. In that case, you would go through the group that you're going, who's hosting it, go through their process and get the cheaper rate. Yes? Okay. Sorry. So you would go through that, and usually, like I said, it's substantially different when you go through their conference site. Anything else? Like Joanne said, the most important thing is getting us the information as soon as possible. Make sure you get all of your authorizations in. We have had problems where people will look at an airline reservation. They'll see that the airfare is $600. When they go, because they take so long in processing their paperwork, when they go to book their flight, it could be up to $1,200. So it's to your advantage to, as soon as you know you've gotten something, go through your proper channels to get your approvals and get your paperwork filled out, get it submitted, and we are very prompt on our end to get the information to you. Elena does a great job turning over the paperwork as it comes in and issues you the BT number so you can proceed. The travel manual, which gives you detailed information, all the forms are there. You can go to our website. All university faculty travel is capped at $1,000, so keep that in mind. And needless to say, reimbursement won't be completed without an approved BT or BTS number. Any questions on travel? Yes?
In terms of flying for conferences, the expectation that people will be flying out of Newark since that's closed.
I'm sorry.
I said, in terms of traveling, like flying for conferences, the expectation that you would have to fly out of Newark, or is there some room for traveling out of another airport?
Okay, needless to say, it would depend on where you live. If you live closer to Philly, and Philly would be a more convenient location for you, you can certainly book your flight out of Philly to your destination. So yes, we want it to be convenient for the user, as well as keeping the economics in mind of how much we're paying for this. Anybody else? Yes.
There's been some conferences that I have attended where the conference host gives a discount for airfare. How do you handle that? So we've gotten promo codes from like United or another.
You still have to go through our process through the direct travel at that point.
Can they apply that discount?
Probably, David? Probably not.
No, but then we have our own discounts that we have set in the system that the travelers can take care of.
Okay. So what David said is we have our own discounts set in the system that usually will match that particular rate. If there's a great difference, call us, okay, and we'll see what we could do. Yes? These lights are so bright I can't see anything.
For reimbursement, what is the expected time frame to get reimbursed?
Okay, you did your travel, you have all of your receipts, you've filled out your reimbursement form. Mr. Joe Antonowitz and his department are going to usually make sure that that is taken care of. They run checks once a week generally for a major check run. As long as everything's in, I'd say within 2 weeks, Joe, would that be safe to say? But at that point, we're out of the loop, okay?
At that point, say you're 45 months out, 50, who do you call?
You call Jessica or Joe, and they could follow up on it, because obviously then something's been held up. And because Gaza's laughing, you could call Gaza too. Actually, don't call Joe or Jessica, just call Gaza. But if you've had a problem, I guess, are you asking that? Okay. Okay. Well, if you do, someone up there is always willing to help you deal with any of the accounts payable people, and they'll follow up on it, because it could have gotten lost. Something could have happened. So it's always best to follow up, give a call, send an email, and copy Jessica, just so she's aware and she can follow up too. Hi, Orly.
So let's just say I got approved for travel in 6 months from now, and you guys went ahead and created an account in Direct Travel. I get an email with my user and password. Is there an expectation of how quickly I should go in to book the actual?
You should go in as soon as possible. You've got your BT number. There's no reason for you to wait at that point. And because the airfares fluctuate so greatly, when we first started this, we ran into a situation where when the person booked it, they got their approval for $600 for an airfare. They waited a very long time to actually make their reservation, and it had doubled. Well, now what do? They can't go over their BT number by that much. They had to go through the whole process again. Plus, it costs the university more money.
Do the users and passwords ever expire?
No. And once we register you in Direct Travel, you're in there. So we've got, Elena, a lot of people registered, wouldn't you say? So we've already set up online accounts for most users, and these are the people who do a lot of traveling on behalf of the university. We have user accounts set up. They have their passwords, their names and passwords, and they can go in after that point. Again, the key there, it's not going to process. It's not going to confirm or book that flight or at some point our hotel reservation unless they have an approved BT number, or in a student's case, a BST number.
Can those numbers be created in advance?
Those numbers are created once you submit the paperwork to us. It comes to business services. We ensure that the money's in the budget. First of all, that your form is complete. It has all the correct signatures. It's gone through legal, so it's got ethics signature on it.
The question is, let me phrase it. So for those that will travel to conferences annually, can the BT number be created prior to?
So
So then the process is expedited year after year.
you're not going to, the BT number can be used once.
Okay.
Okay. Anything? Yes?
Just for information, you had said that there was $200,000. So that person who their flight was doubled and they wound up with $1,200 responsible for the $200 above?
That would be at their dean or director level to decide whether that trip, they can go forward with that trip at that point. Anyone else? Yes?
What would be your recommendation for travel that happens after July 1? So, for example, the scenario is right now I know the conference at the end of July.
Okay, and have they already set up registration for it?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to get approval from your supervisor that you can go to the conference or event. You can now register for the event. I'd fill out my paperwork first to get my whole travel approval, which is going to be my travel, my conference fee, any mileage, food, whatever. Put that in, you're going to get your BT number, book it as soon as possible.
In the past, I know the BT number has to wait till July 1. Is that?
What did we do with that, Elena? We ran into a problem with that? See how great she is? We will accommodate that. Reach out and she'll take care of it. But it's always to your benefit to book it as soon as possible. You know that conference is coming up. Lucian Live is a big conference that a lot of people are involved with. Once a year that comes up, people know who are going. Get your airfare, get your reservation, get your registration fee done as soon as possible. Yes? That's up to each dean and department head, whether an adjunct could go to a seminar. That wouldn't be at our level. As long as it came through to us with all of the correct signatures, and that would mean the provost's office in this case, we would go on their recommendation. Anything else? Please feel free to contact us at any time. Yelena works on travel in our area and has really done a terrific job with it, and either she or Joanne can answer anything that you will need. Did I see another hand? Or? Okay. Thank you.
So this is our two-segment, our session. So as you know that we are trying to update some of our current processes with purchasing, and we've been working with our OCIS to make it a little simpler, easier. So hopefully by my middle of June or July, we'll have some stuff out there for you guys to see, because some of the stuff are, very difficult to process and stuff like that. So we're working to update that. So this will be coming soon. And I know that we are trying to make sure that we make it easy and simple for our end user. So we'll try to work at that. So this is if you have no question, this is conclude our session. And thank you for attending us.